What's going on, H-Town, Red Nation, no matter what nation you're in? My name is David Delano, and this is Rockets Daily, brought to you by Fan Arch, getting so much closer to opening up the season on October 21st on the road against the Oklahoma City Thunder. But before we get there, we've had a couple preseason games, and we've got a couple more, some early takeaways. We're not going to get too ahead of ourselves, but all that really exists right now is the present day. So we're going to talk about that. What I would appreciate, I'll talk about really quickly. And you should know the drill. Go ahead and subscribe. But everybody who views these videos, everybody who's come across this channel has not yet subscribed. If you haven't, thanks so much for just for being here. And if you could just take that extra step and just hit that subscribe button, help us get to 1,000 by the time Oklahoma City starts. It's a personal goal of mine. Help me hit my personal goals in life. All right, and I'll be here with you guys to talk about everything going on with the Rockets, who are off to an impressive 2-0 start. Start popping those bottles. Get them ready for the parade. One day at a time. All jokes aside, and in all seriousness, though, liking the things we've seen so far through the first two games, both at home against the Atlanta Hawks and the Utah Jazz. Now we got a couple games at different sites going on before we get into the regular season. But a few different takeaways, and I'm not going to go on too long on this one. But one, Kevin Durant made his debut against the Utah Jazz. Kevin Durant showing his greatness, no matter how you felt about him personally before he was a Rocket. Really just showing, and we should all know this, right? But, being able to, it'll be different for the fans now getting to see Kevin Durant up close so often and in a Houston Rockets jersey where you can really appreciate it. But how easy Kevin Durant can score in bunches, and how effortless he can make it, going 7 for 10 in the opening win against the Utah Jazz. After missing his first 3 shots, just knocked down those next 7. Kevin Durant looked like he's in mid-season form, and hopefully we need him to stay that way, stay healthy. Sengun, another guy coming off of the Eurobasket tournament, so of course he is a little bit... been playing at that level. Got Turkey to the finals of the Eurobasket. Took out some heavy hitters along the way in that tournament. His team eliminated Serbia, Nikola Jokic. His team eliminated, in the third place game, took down Greece and Giannis. So a lot of things with Sengun has you really thinking, what is the ceiling here? I mean, I know that when you look at how much of a team the Rockets have, saying MVP is a long shot. When you look at the fact that Jokic is still in Denver, saying first team All-NBA could seem like a bit of a stretch as well. But Sengun right now, and granted, I understand where we are in the season, but looking every bit as far as talent-wise of an All-NBA player, All-NBA first-team player even. Right now, with Kevin Durant out there, we're seeing it looks like Jabari Smith Jr., as expected, is going to get a lot of good looks, opportunities to shine. Jabari Smith. Got a lot of guys who've gotten to play throughout these first few games, all except for 3, and obviously Fred VanVleet not going to play. Dorian Finney-Smith banged up, and we'll get to the third one in just a minute here, who has not actually played in the preseason yet. But one other thing I want to mention, because we've all talked about the backcourt quite a bit, even before Fred VanVleet was injured, and there was a great comment. There was a great comment on a video last week, and the comment said, with a lot of people worried about Fred VanVleet, said last season there were some times where Fred struggled, and if you watch the games, you had to have some moments to yourself where you're thinking, is this it? Is this really the last year for Fred? Is this the end of his days with the Rockets? And I had some of those I definitely had some of those moments. And I think that when things came together in the series against the Golden State Warriors, maybe not for the team as a whole, obviously didn't advance, but what we saw, how many guys were kind of like deer in the headlights, and it took them a little while to get going. But Fred was one of those guys really ready to go from the jump in that series. And you see how valuable he is, and then restructuring the contract helped out a lot. But life without Fred is obviously something the team's been thinking about. Um, Amin Thompson getting more ball handling duties, Reed Shepard playing a bigger role, Sengun being more of a facilitator. Obviously, Kevin Durant can handle the ball. So this is something that it looks really smooth right now. It looks really smooth. We know that this will not be a perfectly smooth ride all the way through. But so far, so good. We've seen some high scoring games. For those of you who keep track of those types of things, both games went over the total. Rockets covered the spread in both of those games. Rockets a 7.5 point underdog right now for opening day against the Oklahoma City Thunder. And one other thing to touch on here, Jae'Sean Tate, who I've talked about a little bit on here. We talked a little bit about his background. I mentioned seeing his father play back when his father was in high school. A guy that I root for personally now, 6 years with the Rockets. Really with those down days with with Silas, and now still on this roster. Important piece of this roster. Hasn't played yet. Only guy that hasn't played yet besides Dorian Finney-Smith and obviously Fred VanVleet. Haven't seen a whole lot of reports. Does seem like it's some precautionary things. We'll see. I know who Jae'Sean Tate is, but I personally would like to see him play a little bit in the preseason if he's healthy, if he can go. Just because I know that it's going to be interesting seeing how those minutes go, and you want to really see what his role is going to be, because you root for these guys, but you still want to see how it's all going to fit. And right now, the way that these the rotations have been going, it's been looking going pretty well, even with the big lineup. Clint Capella gets in there, Steven Adams plays. So far, things have been flowing pretty nicely. And last game, we got a tune-up on Tuesday against the Utah Jazz. Play the Jazz. New Orleans Pelicans in New Orleans on October 14th. And then the final game, we've got February 16th against the Atlanta Hawks in Atlanta. So those are going to be the final two preseason games. Let me know what your takeaways are so far. Rockets Daily, brought to you by FanArch. I'm David Delano, and I will see you guys on the next one. And let me know if you've been watching the preseason so far. Anybody who's been watching, if you've just been listening, following box scores, listening to shows like this, all of the above, all comments are welcome. Let's have a great day.